Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to JC's podcast. And This is my first stab at doing a podcast. I've been talking to a lot of people, and a lot of people who come to me for advice and different issues that they're dealing with. And They come to me, and I just decided, and they are actually always encourage me and say, "Well, why don't you do a podcast?" And I said, "Well, I think I will do a podcast because um, I've had some experience in broadcasting. Of course, uh, radio was my first love. My first career was 20 years of working radio and being a DJ and radio announcer. So uh, actually, this podcasting thing, hopefully, it'll kind of come easily. And of course, being a mental health professional that I am a relationship specialist. Um, I am have a doctorate in ministry and family therapy, and so I just decided, and I kind of figured that I could use my skills and use my experience and my education and pull it all together, and maybe we can impart some helpful information to people who would dare to listen to it. I hope you listen to it. I hope you like it. There will be comments. You can actually leave me a comment in the comment section. I have all that information uh, stored for you. So, and also, if you have a particular topic dealing with relationships or mental illness or mental health, and you would like for us to do some research and impart some information about it, please don't hesitate to comment, share the video if you like the video, thumbs up the video, and we'll move forward with it. All right. So today, this podcast it's called Breaking the Silence, and because there are a lot of people who suffer in silence when they're dealing with relationships. And today, we're going to dive into one of the most complex and emotionally challenged topics: being in a relationship with a narcissistic person. Being in a relationship with a narcissistic person. Today, we're going to explore some of the challenges, and we're going to talk about the path that you should be on towards healing and getting clear of that relationship. Um, I don't know what your situation is, whether your current situation is you're in a narcissistic relationship and you know that you're in a narcissistic relationship, whether you have been in a relationship in the past where you think it may or may have been a relationship, or simply if you just want to educate yourself on what a narcissist is and dealing with a person in a narcissistic relationship. This episode will provide you with the insights and the tools, and hopefully, it will give you some hope and let you know that there is a better way. But before we get started, I must remind you that if you or you know of someone who is experiencing some type of abuse, whether it is physical abuse or mental abuse, you don't have to stay there and take it. We encourage you to please seek help. And you are not alone. You are not the first one, and you most certainly won't be the last one. And there are different resources in your area, in your town, or wherever you may be, that will help you and will support you. And I'm going to share some of those resources and some of that information at the end of this episode. But today we're just going to cover what narcissism is. We're going to talk about the effects of narcissistic behaviors in relationships, and we're going to give you some signs to watch for and some strategies for dealing with a narcissist in a narcissistic relationship. All right. So if you got all that, then let's dive in. First segment, we're going to talk about understanding narcissism and what narcissism is. Okay, we're going to talk about what it really is. A narcissistic personality disorder, that's or NPD. If you are familiar with the diagnosis from the DSM-4, well, actually DSM-5, um, a narcissistic personality disorder, or NDP, is a mental health condition characterized by patterns of grandiosity, a constant need for admiration, and a lack of empathy for others. But narcissism exists on a spectrum, and not everyone with narcissistic traits has NPD. Now we're going to break it down. Now, everybody who's listening to me knows somebody that fits the bill of a narcissist. What are the traits? What do you look for in a narcissist? Well, grandiosity, an exaggerated sense of self-importance. That narcissist person think that they are more important than they really are. You know somebody like that. Yeah. They're that person that claim that they're the best who ever did it. Whatever it is or anything that's going on, they're the best. Even if there's no evidence at all to back up that they're the best, they will be the best, according to them. That's that grandiosity. Another trait of a narcissist is they have a need for admiration. Narcissistic individuals often thrive on validation. They want somebody to always validate them, to tell them how good they look, to tell them how good they can sing, just to compliment them. And if you're dealing with a person with a narcissistic person, then they don't just appreciate compliments, but they demand compliments. They need you. They want you to stroke them. And the third trait of a narcissistic person is the lack of empathy. They don't even understand. They have find a hard time trying to understand or even care, for all that matter, about someone else's feelings. They could care less because it's all about them. And so it's hard for them to connect with a person emotionally because they can't even connect with your feelings. They can't even understand that somebody else needs some things. It's all about them. Now, there are two primary types of narcissism that we're going to deal with. The first one is called grandiose narcissism. Now, these are the individuals that when you meet them and when you see them, they always appear to be very confident. Yeah, I know I got it going on. And, they feel like they always give off that air of confidence. And they are very charming individuals. And they will pull you in. And if you listen to them and listen to them describe themselves, they are larger than life. Now, they're very charismatic people, yeah, but they can quickly turn dismissal anytime they feel challenged. They can quickly turn dismissal. For instance, if somebody comes around the person that they're in a relationship with, and even try to tell them what's right, or someone, or they or you seem to listen to that person a little bit, then they can quickly turn and start dismissing that person, and turn you against that person because they don't want to be challenged. The second kind is a vulnerable narcissism. Vulnerable. This type of narcissist is less overt. These individuals, they might seem shy or they might seem sensitive, but they are just so self-focused on themselves, and they use this passive aggressiveness or victimhood to manipulate others because they always play the victim role. Man, those narcissists are something serious, man. They are some serious. Research suggests that narcissist traits often stem from childhood experiences, and also from feeling inadequate. They feel inadequate about themselves, and it's really a defense mechanism because they want to protect their feelings of inadequacy, and they don't want you to know that they are really some weak individuals. So if any of this stuff sounds familiar to you, you may be in a narcissistic relationship, or you may know this narcissistic person. Just like my dog is barking, my grand dog that's barking, he's a narcissistic person, a narcissistic dog because uh, he's barking because he wants all the attention to be placed on himself. All right, segment number two. Let's talk about the dynamics of a narcissistic relationship. There are some certain dynamics that go on in a narcissistic relationship. Because being in a narcissistic relationship or in a relationship with a narcissistic person, um, they oftentimes follow a predictable pattern. Predictable pattern. You can predict the next move that they're going to make. We're going to break it down. Number one, love bombing and idealization. This is the honeymoon phase where everything feels magical. A narcissistic partner showers you with affection, showers you with gifts, and showers you with attention. Yes, they might say things like, "You're the best thing that ever happened to me," or "I've never felt this way before." The goal is to make you emotionally dependent on them. They tell you things like, um, "I've never met anybody of your caliber. You just everything that I've been looking for." And you buy into that and you eat that up. And what they're doing, they are setting you up to make you emotionally dependent on them. That's the first part. Then the second part, devaluation and control. See, once they feel secure in a relationship, then the dynamics shift. Then those compliments that they used to give you all the time turns into criticism. You can't seem to do anything right. And then that affection that they used to give you is gone. It gives away to control. Then what they tend to do, they start belittling you and your accomplishments, and they make you start to doubt your own self-worth. You've accomplished some things, and every time you accomplish something, they belittle it. It's nothing. Oh, you hadn't done anything. You know, and they'll tell you that so much, then you start thinking like that. And then they start telling you things like, "Man, you can't do anything right. You can't do." And then they start breaking you down, and you start being emotional about it. Then they start telling you, "Oh, you're just too sensitive." Those things become normal in a narcissistic relationship. Then the third thing in a narcissistic relationship is gaslighting. What is gaslighting? Well, this is a manipulation tactic where they distort reality and make you question what you really see. For example, if you confront them about their hurtful behavior, they may say, that never happened. You're just too sensitive. You're just imagining things. And over time, then they start to erode your confidence and your sense of reality, and then you start wondering, is it me, or do I see these things, or not? Yes, you see those things, but that narcissistic person is in control. So they make you start doubting yourself with the gaslighting. Then the fourth thing is the impact on you. Partners of narcissistic people often feel isolated. They feel anxious and they feel drained. You might find yourself constantly trying to please them, and everything is about them, so you never have time to take care of anything for yourself. And when you're around them, you got to walk on eggshells. You're always trying to avoid a conflict, and you get so consumed with their needs then you start losing sight of your own needs, the things you need for yourself, for your emotional health. And you just get so consumed with the narcissist. The third part we're going to talk about is recognizing the signs. How do you know if you're in a relationship with a narcissistic person? Well, there are some red flags that you need to watch for. You need to watch out for excessive need for control. Yeah, they micromanage everything you do. When you make decisions, when you start sharing your decisions with them, they want to micromanage everything you do, from how you dress, who you spend your time with, where you spend your money, all of that. That's what the narcissist wants to do. So when you start seeing that excessive need for control, you might be in a narcissistic relationship. Then they have that another thing to look for, another sign is emotional manipulation. Yeah, emotional manipulation. So what is that? Well, this is where they use guilt or fear to get their way. For example, they might say, uh, if you really love me, you do this. You claim you love me, but if you really love me, then you'll do this. It shouldn't be any question about it. And that's called emotional manipulation. Then the third thing to look out for, to recognize, third sign, is blame shifting. See, they never take accountability for their action. If something goes wrong, it's your fault. You made the decision. You did it. It's never their fault. And then, of course, we mentioned earlier, we talk about the lack of empathy. They always dismiss your feelings, they dismiss your needs, and they make you feel so unimportant. And because really and truly, to them, you are not important. What is important is what they want. And even when it comes to careers, your career does not even matter to them. Their career matters. They want you to be consumed with feeding into uh, what it is that they want. The cycle of idealization and devaluation. One day, they are praising you, telling you you're good, oh, I love you, this and that. Then the next day, they are tearing you down. They build you up just to tear you down. If any of this stuff sounds familiar to you, it's important to reflect on how this relationship affects your mental and emotional well being. Somebody listening to this right now is not well because they are in a narcissistic relationship. I guess the question is then, so, well, Dr. Coleman, you've said these things, and how do I cope with this? How do I heal from this narcissistic relationship? Well, I'm glad you asked that question because if you're in a relationship with a narcissistic person, you got to understand that you cannot change them, but you can change how you respond. You can't change them, but you can change how you respond. Here are a few strategies that you can use. Number one, setting boundaries. You need to clearly communicate your limits and stick with them. For example, I'm not even going to discuss this topic when you're raising your voice with me. So you have to challenge the narcissistic person because believe it or not, the narcissistic person is really a coward. He's really a coward because when you confront him and you set those boundaries and be firm with it and stick with it, then the narcissistic person is off his rocker because he only functions when he is in control. Number two, coping strategy, building emotional resistance. Well, you have to practice mindfulness and stay grounded in reality. One of the strategies that you can use, you can try journaling and writing to yourself, uh, and it can help you process your feelings and it can help you validate your experiences. So when this narcissistic person tries to tell you, oh, you didn't hear that, or this is not what it was, you go to your journal and you look and you say, no, no, I know exactly what it is that I'm feeling. I know exactly what it is that I'm seeing. I know exactly what it is that I'm hearing because you are journaling. So that's a strategy that you can use. Number three, you need to seek professional help. Yes, you need to seek professional help. Uh, Therapy. Therapy can be a lifeline. Your therapist can be a lifeline. A therapist can help you rebuild your confidence. They can help you navigate these decisions, and they can make you see clearly whether you want to stay or whether you want to leave. But it is highly recommended that you get you a good therapist. Um, and of course, you can always leave the relationship. Yeah, because if the relationship is toxic and is unchangeable, you need to create a safety plan as to how you're going to leave this person because that person doesn't want you to leave because it might be sometimes it get kind of difficult to leave and that person could resort to violence. Um, so whatever it takes for you to get out of that relationship, if you have to tuck some money away and hide some money away or put together a support system of people that he's not even familiar with, that person not familiar with, and share with your therapist about your safety plan and help to let your therapist help you create a safety plan for leaving that narcissistic relationship. And last but not least, what you a strategy for coping and healing, you need to reclaim your identity. You need to rediscover who you are. You need to rediscover your hobbies, rediscover your friendships, rediscover the passions that bring you joy and not bring him joy. Remember who you were before you got into that relationship. That's what you're going to have to do. Remember the things that you've accomplished. Remember the passion that you used to put into different things that of interest to you before you met uh, this buster. Let's just call it what it is. This buster in a narcissistic relationship. Well, I hope you get something from this. But as we wrap this thing up tonight, I want to remind you that there are some resources available to you. Uh, the first thing, the National Domestic Violence Hotline. You can always call the National Domestic Violence Hotline, and that number is 1-800-799-SAFE, SAFE. 1-800-799-7233. And if you just remember SAFE, 1-800-799-SAFE, that's the National Domestic Violence Hotline. And then there are a couple of books that you can read. One particular book is called Disarming the Narcissist by Wendy Behary. You can find that on Amazon or anywhere you get your books. And there's another book called The Covet Passive Aggressive Narcissist by Devi Mizra. I think that's what you pronounce the name, Mizra or Marza, Mirza, and The Covet Passive Aggressive Narcissist by David Marza. Uh, you got to understand, people, that you deserve to be in a relationship that's built on mutual respect, a relationship that's built on love, and you got to remember that you have to prioritize your well-being. And prioritizing your well-being is not selfish. No, it is not selfish. It is necessary. If you're ready to take the next step, you got to know that you have the strength within you to move forward and get out of that relationship. So that's my spiel about dealing with a narcissist and surviving a narcissistic relationship. But what I want you to do, that if you like the video, if you like the podcast, Um, Give us a comment. Give us a thumbs up. Of course, I'm very new at this. Um, and if there's anything or any questions or comments, put them in the comment section. And if you have any ideas for any upcoming episodes, as we further dive into breaking the silence and in these relationships, um, please put it all in the comment section. Until then, I'm your host, Dr. J.C. Coleman. It's been real. I've had fun doing it. We could only get better, and greater is coming. See you around.